Good evening, everyone. We'll open the meeting up. Please rise to the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll open our meeting up to public comment. As usual, our front-end public comment is for agenda items only, so if you have any questions regarding the agenda, please stand up, state your name, and shout out your question. Okay, we'll close public comment and we'll move to our special presentations. This evening we have, first off, the leaders of the pack. I'll ask elementary school to...
Good evening, everyone. We'd like to call up Anthony Vita, our main leader of the pack. Anthony's in first grade, and his classroom teacher, Mrs. Canino, is here today. She says, Anthony has a heart of gold. He is thoughtful with his words and how he treats his classmates and teachers. He cares about others and is a very good listener. Anthony takes great pride in his work, gets started right away, and works the whole time. He loves sharing his math thinking. Anthony has a wonderful sense of humor and makes us laugh and appreciates jokes, and silly things. If you want to know about scientific facts, ask Anthony. He might be partial to ants, but he knows many, many facts about animals and other science topics. I am so proud of Anthony. He demonstrates leadership skills daily. He is an absolute joy to teach and has a very bright future in Highland. Mr. Helmer, your PE teacher, says, Anthony does an excellent job in physical education on a daily basis. He is a great teammate and is willing to help his peers in new games and activities. He displays a positive attitude and is very respectful. Mrs. McCaffrey, your music teacher, says Anthony is an enthusiastic participant in music and is a great singer. Good job.
Smile. All right, a couple more here. Nice job.
It's a real big deal.
That's going to go in for his graduation collage, right?
Our middle school?
Can we jump to the high school?
Sure.
We're still waiting on ours.
High school?
Sure. That's fine. Sorry. That's okay.
That's right.
That's a great change up.
So our May leader of the pack is somebody that everybody knows here, I think. And it is our Kai Roper. She has no idea. So Miss Meyer, your English teacher, said, Kai is extraordinary in so many ways. She is brilliant, mature, and thoughtful, and demonstrates genuine curiosity and initiative both in class and in her extracurricular activities. It is a rare to have a student who is so intrinsically invested in their education. I know that Kai will bring light and passion to all that she does. Mr. Welch, her French teacher, I've had the pleasure of teaching Kai for 3 years, coaching her this year and working with her in extracurricular activities as well. Kai has shined in every setting. Academically, she writes eloquently, elevates the level of the classroom discussion through her insights, and approaches through her learning, curiosity, and interest. As an athlete, Kai is dedicated, always pushing herself to improve. She also supports and advocates for her peers, whether it's in GSA or As a Board of Ed representative, she recently facilitated a successful professional development for the high school staff, a testament to her maturity, thoughtfulness, and commitment to the school district. Although I will miss her next year, I am excited to see what she achieves. I know she will be successful in whatever endeavor she puts her mind to in the future. She is a light and will change the world. Miss Saylor. Kai Roper is a standout among her peers. She's thoughtful, reflective, respective, and hardworking. It's a really killer combination. She is brilliant, but more than that, her curiosity will serve her well. I have had the absolute privilege to teach Kai in 2 classes and seen her interact with other members of the faculty. I have no concerns about her leading a workshop for teachers, which ended up being a memorable and engaging experience for all in attendance. Kai is wonderful and very deserving leader of the pack. Mr. Early, your track coach. Kai is one of the most dedicated and hardworking athletes I have had the privilege of coaching. She always gives her all and does it with a smile on her face. I could not think of someone more deserving of this honor. Congrats, Kai.
All right, so we're gonna look there, Mark and the family.
Okay. One more, hold on.
Can we sneak in?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
No sneaking allowed.
Yes, oh my goodness. We're at work.
I got a long break. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, our leader of the pack is not here yet, but we're hoping that she's on her way.
We can hold off.
So is that okay?
Yeah, we'll add her in
Just
at any
in case
point.
she doesn't come, her name is Rosemary Pekchuk. I hope she comes because she is, I don't want to say the most deserving student we've ever given it to, but when we told her that she'd been selected, the reaction that we got was definitely the most impactful I've ever had in my career. So we really hope that she can attend. She's certainly deserving, and we can't say enough good things about her. So hopefully she comes to get her recommendation.
We'll give her all.
Yeah, if she does it, maybe at the end of the night when we do
Absolutely.
public comments, we can talk about
Doc Shanker's
Sure.
is on deck, and yeah.
Okay, on behalf of the entire Board of Education, we congratulate all our leaders of the pack for a job well done. Moving on, so those that were here for the leaders of the pack, if you would want to leave, you're more than welcome to. If you want to stay for our meeting, welcome to do that.
Smart guy.
Okay, our next presentation is for the Ulster County School Board School Bus Driver of the Year. Kathy?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. It's my pleasure to introduce Mary Duca. Mary Duca, come on up. Mary Duca has received the prestigious award of School Bus Driver of the Year for Ulster County for 2025, and we're very proud of her. The Ulster County Traffic Association presented Mary, I'll hold some for you, with these awards. And to recognize Mary, we have Mrs. Russo here and Mr. Knight. Would you like to come up and tell us about?
Thank you for having us. The School Bus of the Year Award is meaningful because it recognizes individuals working every day and going over and above to protect our children and our residents on the roads. That's why it's important that we recognize the Ulster County School Bus Driver of the Year Award winner, Mary Duca. An honoree benefiting her remarkable contributions of almost 40 years of service, with more than 28 of those years for the Highland Central School District. Mary's unblemished safety record and unwavering reliability reflect her extraordinary dedication to her students, from navigating countless driving conditions to accompanying one group of students from elementary school all the way to their high school graduation. Mary's commitment has been nothing short of inspiring. Beyond her impeccable attendance and punctuality, Mary has always shown exceptional leadership, mentoring fellow drivers and attendants, promoting safety with 19A testing, and even participating in the bus rodeos and training exercises. Mary's kindness extends to her students, who she cheers on at events like the Special Olympics, bringing joy to their lives by decorating her bus with their names and their school colors. Her passion for fostering a positive atmosphere has left a lasting impact on her students, families, and the entire community. Thank you, Mary, for your professionalism, generosity, and steadfast dedication. Highland Central School District was truly fortunate to have you in its ranks. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition.
On behalf of the Highland Transportation School District and all of our team that's here to support Mary, thank you very much. We're very proud of Mary. I am retired.
Well, anyway.
They didn't accept your retirement.
Just trying to skip over.
Okay, so tonight we have Dr. Schenker from Ulster BOCES with us to give us an update and a presentation on the iPark facility. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Schenker. Thank you so much for being here. And I know we brought some students.
Yes.
And yeah, it's all yours.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you. First and foremost, thank you to everybody in the Highland Board for your support and partnership. That's what it is about. And certainly Mr. Barnett, Mr. Zimmer, Dr. Boyd, who show up monthly and more often to partner with not just BOCES, but the 7 other districts. And I can tell you in this role that our county is unique. We come together as colleagues, think not just about the district that we reside in, but about all students in Ulster County. And that isn't the case around the state. And to that end, just to really publicly thank Superintendent Freer, who has been a tremendous colleague of mine as I've stepped into this role, always willing to take a phone call to talk through things. That's really what it's about, on behalf of really what it's about, which is some of our shared students. And so I thought before I gave an update that I'd just allow them a couple of minutes to share who they are, what programs they're in at BOCES, and why BOCES is working for them. So I think we have an order, right? You're going first? Great.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Luciano Tasker. I'm a former Highland student here and BOTEC student as well, and I'm a junior. I do HVAC, heat and ventilation air cooling, and the reason why I chose HVAC was sophomore year. I didn't know what I wanted to do in high school. I thought high school was just normal. We all went through it. But then BOCES was the alternative that I heard of. I was like, what's BOCES? So when I got explained to it by Miss Candy, my guidance counselor, I saw all the options, saw HVAC was there, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. Go on this little field trip, drive over there, see if HVAC or welding works for me. And when I did, I really took a high interest into it. I was like, this seems really good. Not only do I take a bus ride 30 minutes out of my day to go there and learn some actual real life stuff, and Yeah, sorry. But the reason why BOCES is really helping me is because not only is it allowing me to socialize with other school districts, such as Rondout and Saugerties and all of them, but also it allows me to connect to other jobs and such that hopefully I'll be able to work for soon, like Capstone, for example. And I really like BOCES, honestly. You know, it feels like school, but just a real life workforce. And yeah, I'm really grateful that I do BOCES. You know, most schools, I mean, most like states don't have stuff like what New York has. So hopefully I sit good enough there.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Detweiler. Some of you may know me. I had an interesting elementary school life. BOCES helped me partly become who I want to be and partly get out of the school that I was in, which you guys know. I know, do you know where I was? It helped me get out of there, and I remember hearing about BOCES when I was getting better mentally. And I was like, okay, it's closer to home, and I'm not on a bus for 3.5 hours a day. And CTech is helping because my goal in life is to put together psychology and music production so that people that are like me that can use music as a coping mechanism or as a way to get their negative energy or just energy in general out can do that. Whether it's guitar, bass, drums, flute, trombone, violin, I'll have everything in the book at some point. But the goal is to help people that are like me.
Thank you.
I'm Cameron T. Owens. Of course, I'm still a student of Highland, but I go to the Hudson Valley Pathways Academy, the program, most of BOCES. It's the early college high school. So a little bit about why like BOCES and this program is important to me is because when I was in middle school, I was definitely not an A student. Like many absences, failing grades. I was ineligible to go to my middle school graduation. I had to take summer school that year to pass. And I went to Miss Neer actually. And the only reason I ever knew about Hudson Valley Pathways Academy is because she brought it up in one of our talks. And it's a beautiful place, definitely. Like to make a kid that's sinking fly and like do hands-on work. Like I do robotics now. I do so many things that I have so many opportunities that I wouldn't have reached out for in my middle school years that I do now in my high school years. And definitely a big important part of that is Miss Neer. And like I feel like I'm proud and happy that I'm there, right? But I'm also disappointed that this school, Hudson Valley Pathways Academy, doesn't get that much like endorsement in Highland. Because I know there's definitely a lot of kids in Highland that are like me, that definitely didn't feel like they belonged in Highland Middle School. So like when I was told about it, just by going to Miss Neer and having to like directly figure it out, I feel like it should be like more open. I feel like we should be able to like hear about it more, definitely. And that's like a big part about why I'm here. I hope that like this talk, what I'm saying, like gets to like what we're doing, how Hudson Valley Pathways Academy and further extension Ulster BOCES gets more rep in Highland. So that's basically all I got. Thank you.
Doesn't sound like it would be too difficult to possibly arrange for him to come in and speak to that program at some point. I think that's fantastic. They're all children of our community. So
Thank you for sharing them with us. And some of them are very busy and participate in lots of evening activities and presentations. So we didn't know who was going to be able to fit us into their schedule. We're glad that these three got to represent. I also want to introduce Assistant Superintendent for Administration, Amanda Stokes, who's here representing BOCES. So I'll give you so this is a high-level overview of how Highland participates with Ulster BOCES. if you look down the left column in blue, those are services that we offer, and the ones that are filled in white dots, those are the services that Highland is currently participating in, and Superintendent Freer has copies of this, and we can certainly make more available. But you can see that the amount that was spent with Ulster BOCES, just about $3.5 million in services. Again, each year, the district, we meet with the district, we talk about what services were used last year, maybe what new services we have. Highland decides how they want to participate and signs up for those services. And then that moves into kind of final services request. Those are formalized, and then we provide shared services. So on that, Highland received just over $1.5 million back in state aid. And so that's a whole other presentation on what is BOCES aid, but essentially the state incentivizes districts to share and participate in services, and they do that through the form of BOCES aid. And so our average aid ratio in this county is about 60% that our districts get back. And again, not all components of the tuition or the services are aidable. Good news coming down the pike is that the amount of aid allowable for salaries for BOCES employees has increased after many years. So that just happened in this latest budget. That's a huge shift. That means that we can provide more aid back on the cost or money spent with BOCES as it relates to salaries. So that's good news. iPark. I've shared these updates with the superintendents, business officials, and I'm here this evening to share with you. We have a slight revision in the lease in terms of the location of the program on the iPark campus. There was the previous presentation which showed the school kind of in a U shape. The back building is going to take much longer to renovate, and this change happened several months ago. It's actually working to our benefit. We were able to capture about 15,000 more square feet at no additional cost, taking over the complete top of the building. And it centers our school rather than a U with a long corridor, all kind of to a centralized main 2-floor complex with proximity to Ulster, the Ulster County Economic Workforce Development. It also, I should have brought this up. So this is just kind of drawings of bottom floor and top floor. If you look down here at the bottom, those of you familiar with, this is the clock tower, the main entrance here. And so our school will take over this whole side of the building with Ulster County here. Shared entry, but separate entries with separate security for both Ulster County and for us. And then we move into, again, our initial plan was just about to here. We now have this entire space at no additional cost, which is awesome. So it really was an enhancement to security, just in terms of not having that long corridor. This is just another way to look at the layout. Blue being Ulster BOCES, Archtop Fiber, which is the fiber optic company that's on site. Their warehouse is here and offices here, and then Ulster County Economic Development there. But it also enhanced our bus pickup. Initially, when we had the back building, we were going to be entering through here. So we would have had parking, staff and student parking, with a bus loop running through the parking. There are districts that have that. It's not ideal, but now because of this new center, we have a full dedicated bus loop drop-off. So we have buses that will come up. Again, we bus from many districts, so getting them in the front for drop-off, again, just from security, safety, layout, way better design with all of our parking here. And we still have full use of the full courtyard. So that's exciting. I was just up there on Friday. these are renderings. Initially, we had some renderings that were theoretical. These are actual renderings based on the actual drawings. So they are, I'll be up there tomorrow, but they were painting all of the interiors. They were installing all of the overhead doors, and they're beginning to do all of the HVAC. Bathrooms are tiled, toilets are in. It's moving along, and we are on target for September opening. Let's see if there is the timeline here. Again, started planning in 23. We are here in this phase here with a slated opening in 25. As you all know, some of you may know, but as I shared last time I was here, this project dovetails in with our current capital project. So we're moving on to New Paltz, and then we'll be up at the Port Ewan Center, our current Career and Tech Center, to do all of the non-glamorous stuff, HVAC, addressable fire systems. Again, that was already voted and passed, that capital project, by the 8 component districts. And then we'll be looking for our middle school, high school expansion in Port Ewan to increase special education program. We know that's another area in this county, in this state, in this country that is growing exponentially. And you know, many of you know, not just a couple of years ago, we opened Anna Devine. That's a lease from Kingston School District. That program is full. We opened Mount Marion. That program is near full. Currently, there are about 85 elementary students on waiting list today for programming. And so this continues to be a complex problem that, again, our assistant superintendents, our PPS directors are thinking about kind of collectively, what does this mean for Ulster County? And so we're really working on a 3, 5, 7-year plan to make sure that we have programming to be able to keep our students in Ulster County. Because currently, again, and this is not Ulster County uniquely, but we're sending students to Orange Ulster, to Dutchess, and even further. Some students that we can't provide programming for, going to specialized programming as far as Catskill, Albany, Long Island, etc. We want to do the best we can to keep those students in-house. So that's the iPark updates. I did ask Joel if he wanted me to share just a couple of the other kind of big things that are happening. So I'll run through that, and then I'll take any questions, and I can certainly come back to that. New York Inspires is the changes that are upon us through the New York State Education Department as it relates to what does it mean to be a graduate here in New York. We're currently in the planning phase, and in September we begin phase 1. Each of the phases are approximately 2 years, and they've done a really nice job not kind of thrusting these changes upon us immediately, but by saying at the end of these phases, we hope this to be true, and some of these things will happen. There are 4 transformations that are critical in the shifts that we're going to see here in New York State. One is the adoption of a portrait of a grad. That is this. These are draft. This is a draft form. The Board of Regents did adopt the portrait of a grad. However, they're going to be releasing this summer an updated version with definitions. It will be a requirement that all New York State graduates are working towards upskilling in these particular areas. And these are the transversal skills that we know that all students, whether they're going straight into the workforce, they're going into the military, they're going to the 2-year college, 4-year college, whatever next is, we know that these skills aren't going away. These are the ones that will stand the test of time. Learning a specific technology on a 3D printer, that might change in the next 2 or 3 years, but these are the characteristics of the humans that can be coachable and trainable and adaptable to kind of this changing landscape. Really exciting work. Redefining credits and learning experiences. Currently 22 credits and 5 Regents exams is kind of what shapes a graduate exit profile here in New York. That's going to be shifting. How students get credits, what they can use to show proficiency or demonstrate their ability to show excellence in a particular area. That aperture is going to open up. There's conversations around, well, what about a student who spends throughout their high school career working to become an Eagle Scout, or opens their own business, should we look at those experiences and opportunities and take them into consideration as we think about them showcasing who they are against standards and proficiencies? And the answer is yes. What it looks like and how it looks, that isn't decided yet. Regents exams will be decoupled from graduation measures. That means it will not be required for students to pass Regents exams in order to become a graduate. Doesn't mean that Regents exams, or doesn't mean that they're going to go away. Regents exams will become one way that a student could show proficiency, because some students thrive in that type of environment. But we know that not all students taking tests showcase their abilities. And so we want to open that up and say, how else can we do that? Lastly, moving to one high school diploma, raising the bar for everybody and making sure that we have the stepping stones to ensure every student can get to that bar. The really wonderful thing is there's a lot of flexibility in that. And as I kind of shared, again, I'll share this, or you have this slide deck. You can take, I'm not going to go through all the nuances of the timeline, but there's flexibility in what does this look like in Ulster County, and what does this look like, and what does this mean for Highland? And so over the next year, again, as I shared in the beginning, the way that our county is coming together is unique. These conversations aren't happening this same way in New York, and it didn't happen this way always in Ulster County. We have a group of superintendents who are committed to sharing and collaborating, thinking about what this means. And so we'll be engaging with district teams, superintendents, assistant superintendents, PPS directors, deputy superintendents, again, titling kind of changes as we go throughout the county, to talk about what does this look like for Ulster County? What does this mean? And then for Highland to be able to really design, what does this mean for Highland? What are the things that we already do that are amazing that we want to pull forward? What are some of the things that haven't served us well? Maybe we want to let go. And what are we missing, and what do we want to design new so that we ensure we're meeting and creating pathways for all students? It's really, really exciting work. As I always explain, anytime I have a chance, whether forced or people come to hear me, I don't believe in this county, in this state, that we have a teacher or staff problem. We have wonderful educators, and I'm inclusive of TAs and social workers and leaders just in that bucket. We have a container issue. The container in which we ask them to do their job is outdated and tied to a model that may not serve us well in our current environment. And there's certainly things that we need to think and consider changing. And so that's really, really exciting work. I'm super excited to partner with Highland's team on that. And that's inclusive of all voice. We will ensure that over the next year, we're capturing teacher voice, board voice, certainly student voice, community voice. My hope is that we co-author a vision in Ulster County that everybody can see themselves part of as we think about what does it mean to be a graduate in New York, but specifically here in Ulster County and for you all in Highland. And really lastly, to that end, this previous initiative that we're still working through was around this word that you might have heard being thrown around, regionalization. The word got a lot of attention. It got a lot of bad media. It is what we already do. We have continued to come together in Ulster County to think about how do we do more, how do we do better for all students. So for us, it was an easy conversation. There were districts and areas that were arguing about the word and who was going to come. And our 8 districts, inclusive of their full teams, came together and said, hey, what are you doing over here? How can we leverage that? Where are there opportunities to share on behalf of students, on behalf of economic efficiency, that we can do better? And so there were 3 meetings. 2 of them happened already. We've got 1 coming up. We'll put together a final report. But what has emerged through those conversations are a couple things. We need to think about programming, both for regular ed and special ed, for students who tend to have the way that they express themselves is often through aggressive means. Those are difficult programs to build. And we could use some work kind of collectively thinking about how are we serving those students. We began to also talk about sharing of expertise in times of economic difficulty, often professional development. We're looking to see who's doing that over there, and we have to buy it. We have so much expertise in this county. How can we work together to leverage expertise, whether it's teacher, leader, so on and so forth, internally? Some alignment of calendars for more shared superintendent conference days to get specific groups of specialized teachers together. You may only have one or two people in a phys ed department in an elementary school. It's kind of lonely when you come together, but we've got two here, we've got two here, we've got two here. Let's get those folks together. So really exciting conversations around that. And then thinking about some of the things that these three students talked about, which is how do we think about career and technical education experiences, not necessarily CTC at BOCES, but how do we think about that inside of our own district for younger students, knowing that that's an important development skill progression tied to these universal skills. This is, I talked through this without moving through it, my apologies. We will come together in June, kind of codify our regionalization plan, which just basically states we are going to continue having these conversations and looking at viability for actualizing some of this shared work to increase the net of support and programming for not only Highland students, but all students in Ulster County. So it's been a busy year. It will be a busy next year. I'll continue to work with your team and Superintendent Freer to keep updates. Again, happy to always come back if there's other programs you're interested in. Thank you so much for everything you do for our shared students and for Ulster County. Appreciate it.
A few questions, Dr. Shanker. First, I want to commend the three students here for looking for other alternatives to broaden your educational experience. Job well done. I want to commend the young man in the center there, because my background is in construction. We do public commercial construction, school districts, fire districts, libraries, townships, you name it. What I've seen in the past probably 15 to 20 years, and I think I've mentioned that to our entire board, we are lacking the trades. And it's very noticeable. In our business, we hire young apprentices. They come through, we're union, so we have come through the carpenter's apprenticeship program, the laborer's apprenticeship program, the HVAC program, the plumbing program, but they don't have some of the early background that they need. So I would commend Ulster BOCES and all BOCES in New York State to expand the trades. Years back, we were pushing for college and career ready. Well, I think that has failed the trades because not all students are college ready, and we pushed a little bit to be college ready, and we left behind all students. Some of those that should have been able to move forward in their career fell behind. So is Ulster County BOCES now with your new CTE building program at iPark 87? Are you looking to expand in that direction too for trades so they can get that background needed to go out in the work? It's a very lucrative business. The money's there, the benefits are there, but you got to have the knowledge.
Yeah.
And you have to have that experience.
Yeah. So the answer is absolutely. And also looking to think about kind of the shift out of an old traditional model of career and technical education to, and this isn't educators sitting in a room saying we've got an idea. This is really about conversations with the folks like yourself who are going to be hiring students. What do you need to see when one of these students walks in to interview with your company? Those are the skills we need to back map. We can figure out how to do the school stuff with that. And so thinking about not necessarily just siloed career and technical areas right now, 26 different areas, but thinking about the building arts and what are the foundational skills, whether you're going to specialize in HVAC or go into electric or plumbing. There's that universal skill set outside of just the human skills that you need to have a good employee, self-directed leadership, and all of those type of things. So the answer is yes on that expansion. Interestingly enough, right, we know that we have declining enrollment, not only here in Ulster County, but in the state and in most areas in the country. Career and technical education is the opposite. We have an exponential increase in enrollment in career and technical education. And part of that is the redefining of what success might be, where there was that one linear pathway, which was academic, that, and many of us probably have stories. I mean, I went to a local school and I was told by a guidance counselor, and I always love hands-on. I went on to study woodworking, but that career in tech wasn't for me because I got good grades. I was an academic student. So shifting that narrative is really important. We have a tremendous amount of students in our current enrollment who go to career and technical education and go on to a four-year college. We have a significant amount of students that go into two-year schools or certification programs and or directly into work experiences. We want to have as many options as possible. So I think, like many of you, we can find that spark and then just allow them to move forward. And that spark is alive here in Highland. But you have extended programs like through Ulster BOCES that we can, again, broaden those opportunities for students to have that.
So Mike Rowe was just in DC, and there was a discussion about education. And one of the things they talked about was we've done in the last 20 years, we did a disservice. We really said, hey, children, you're really going to need a four-year degree. You absolutely need it. And it's kind of connected to the debt bubble of student loans. Like, we created that. And what we find now is that's not true. And there's, I forgot the number, it was like 300,000 blue-collar jobs that pay a living wage, that pay excellent money, and they don't have the hands to fill them. And part of that discussion was we reframed the schools, basically, and pulled the trades out under this guise of everybody's going to need a four-year degree. What I hope to see, and maybe down the road there's grants, maybe there's a conversation, hey, BOCES, what's the two most popular that people attend? And you start seeing those get migrated back to the schools, allowing BOCES to get into the next jobs of the future, the AI and some of the real heavy stuff that we know is, the 3D printing and milling is just unbelievable. Yeah. So there's some conversation around what Al's been saying, by the way, for as long as I've known.
You led into my next question, Mike. Is that from what I hear, and it's just the nature of the beast, that some students want to go to that career and tech position that you have up in BOCES, but they don't want to leave their home campus. They don't want to leave their peers. They're on a bus for an hour, let's say. I always use Marlboro as an example. They're going to Goshen, probably on a bus an hour and a half. That's 3 hours taken away from a 7-hour day. They don't spend much time at their home campus, let alone going to that career tech campus. I always thought that BOCES should have tried to bring that back into, like Mike said, to even satellite programs where maybe New Paltz, maybe Marlboro, maybe Highland can offer 3 different trades or whatever.
We're always trying to recapture lost time
and bring it back to their home districts. That's the thing that's really, it's somewhat disturbing for me, because there's so many kids out there that don't have a direction to go in. And like Mike said, it was 20 years ago, it's college and career ready, but that's failed us, I think, to some point. We got to try to capture that back again, as Mike said.
We hate lost time, but the testimonials today speak to there's value in the program 100%. I mean, it gives great opportunities. We'd love to have some of those here. And there might be a construction 101 or something we could talk about that prepares those, or at least highlights some of the programs that connects them with those professions a little more than you come in when you're in like 8th or 9th grade.
Again, we're always willing to have those conversations. We're always willing to talk about site-based BOCES programs. That is a thing. There are areas where it has been successful and areas where it hasn't been successful. I do think the flexibility and the changing graduation measures are going to be really the opening to talking about where does it make sense? It might not make sense to just say like, let's just go here and open a full construction academy. However, let's look at some coursework that we can now give credit because we've got flexibility to begin to build those into scope and sequences. Let's open up mechanisms for internships for all students, and that's something we're talking about. Is how does BOCES really coordinate so that any student in Ulster County that needs an internship can have access to that? We know that the business community can't navigate 8 districts, 8 building principals with their guidance counselors. So like, let's make it single point entry and efficient. So I think there's some places to step into those conversations and then look at what's next.
Getting back to iPark 87, the anticipated, opening in September. I think your footprint is 15 to 20,000 square feet
Total?
total.
100 and
Okay,
yeah, 120.
I'm off a few.
Just a couple.
How are you filling that currently, or what's the plan for the next 5 years to fill a 120,000 square foot facility? Where, I mean, that's probably combining 5 school districts, component school districts, total square footage. How are you looking to expand and fill those areas?
So we're busting at the seams currently. Our current facility was really designed for a maximum of 900 students, 450 in the AM and 450 in the PM. We're currently north of 1,200 students, and next year's seat requests are over 1,400. So we're filling it, and designing kind of the design behind it is to move past kind of like fixed classrooms and create the flexibility so that if we need to be moving as we see program development ebb and flow, and as technology emerges and changes, we want to be able to adapt to those conditions. We have room for the program growth and the proximity of programs next to each other. So currently, manufacturing's over here, and HVAC is over here, welding's over here. We want welding to be also close to auto. We need it close to HVAC, right? So that we can teach those baseline skills that we see across. We can't do that now. So really more open, flexible labs that we can use around relevant projects to teach the technologies and proximity. And then we've got space, we'll have some space to grow in. I mean, I think when we initially did the kind of calculations, this is a site that I said 1,800, and the career and tech principals are like, you're crazy, you don't have to work here. But that's kind of the capacity that we could grow into. But it's again, we've seen that exponential shift and increase in enrollment. So right now, we have our Phoenix Academy, which is also located there. We've got swing spaces for dual enrollment programs, so Hudson Valley Pathways Academy and our New Visions. One of the things we're talking about, and you talked about site-based here in Highland, is also thinking about what do these classrooms look like in the community. So New Visions pre-law class, well, should have that in Kingston at the courthouse, site-based, immersed in that environment. Our New Visions Health, that should be located in a hospital, right? So those are kind of, as we look at growth and shift and change, also looking at site-based, and that's not an Ulster BOCES model. There are New Visions programming and site-based tech programs that coexist within the field that particular area is tied to.
But you do have, from what I heard earlier, you have right now currently 2, besides New Paltz and Port Union, you have 2 satellite locations, Anna Devine and another location. Correct?
So special ed programming and our therapeutic programming are in Port Ewan currently in the 2-story building. Anna Devine in the Kingston district, and then Mount Marion. And again, we have significant waiting list. We also know that there's the potential for some other schools to come online, and we would take a look at that as needs grow. But when the renovation happens in Port Ewan, that will become a middle high school campus, and we'll be looking at, not in the same way that we have at Career and Tech, but keeping some of the infrastructure of the labs, moving to kind of a 4 career development zones, so that our students with IEPs are getting the skill mapping and skill progression to either continue through that and exit into the same opportunities, or upskill and have an opportunity to come over to the tech center at iPark. We want to make sure all of our students, again, are being prepared for whatever's next.
I don't have anything to add other than what my colleagues I want to echo, but I really want to make a point to commend the 3 young adults that came and spoke for their poise, for their passion, and for being articulate. So a lot of those presentation and soft skills, if you will, were very evident. I just wanted to make sure you 3 left knowing that I was very impressed. So.
And Lou, if you have your certificate, my air conditioner's not working at home, so I have to call somebody every single year, so it's a good avenue to go down.
I heard he said 12.
Only to former students.
Thank you so much for giving us
Thank you.
a couple minutes of your time and opportunity to share, and thanks again for all your support. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
I have this slide deck, so I'll include it in my update on Friday. So that one sheet was really hard to see, but I'll make sure that you have a copy of that.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good.
Thank you. Have a great evening, everybody.
Real quick, before we go on to our consent items, I didn't have the opportunity to thank Mary Duca for all her years here in the Highland Central School District, bringing our students home into school in a safe and compassionate way. We appreciate the time, and hopefully you have a great retirement and a large wall to put all those plaques in. Or drywall. Thank you, Mary.
They didn't get to that part yet, but I think he's letting you know that they're going to accept it.
Oh, it's on here?
It is on there.
Okay, consent items. As usual, we're going consent EA1 to D5.I. If you want to pull something out, you need clarification, questions, we can do that. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to move it forward.
Is there a D5? Is there a D5? I only see
I don't see a
D4.
D.
I think there was one thing pulled off, so I don't know.
Yes,
if
it
we
was.
said-
No, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's,
Sorry, so it'd be D4. Thank you.
So we're before.
D4I.
or change orders, right?
Correct.
D4I.
The mistake was not real low on this. Pages are all full.
I motion for the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Second, motion by Mike, second by Heather. Any questions? Clarifications? Okay, we'll move, have a motion by Mike, second by Heather. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Okay, Mary, they just accepted it. Congratulations, you definitely deserve it. I'd also like to just point out that Carol Missouri is on there for 32 years of service as a teaching assistant. She's not with us this evening. And Cheryl Richter, 37 years at the elementary school. So congratulations to them. We'll invite all of the retirees to the next board meeting where we'll recognize all of the retirees and the tenured candidates.
Okay. We'll go to curriculum and instruction, principal's monthly report. Start with the high school.
Oh.
Your fault.
Get you on
Mike
the way
said
too.
change it up, I heard it.
Good evening, everybody. Just one addition to my board report. On Friday, May 16th and Saturday, May 17th, Highland High School band and choir students performed a total of 46 solos at the annual NISMA Festival at Mount Academy.
Out of the 46 solos, 24 of them were level 6 all-state auditions, which is the highest level of difficulty. So that is a great achievement, and it's something that the band and choir look forward to and prepare for all year long. So they did very well with that. So I'm happy to add that for an addition. And then, are there any questions from the high school board report?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, am I next or is he? I'm in the middle.
You're always in the middle.
I'm the third of 4 children. I've been sharing a room my whole life. Whatever. The only addition I have to my board report is we began our STAR testing this week. So then over the next few weeks, we're going to be doing our STAR testing, which we do every year. We do 3 times a year. And early returns are looking good. We always look for data in what we're doing, and we saw some positive results when we started looking. We still have some testing to do, but it's a good sign for us, right? Something that we're working on always, so we're happy to have those. So that's my only update. Does anybody have any questions?
Only question I have, completely unrelated, maybe high school too, just it's been a bit since we've instituted the policy with cell phones. Just curious how it's going.
I think it's, for us, I can't speak for Brandon, but I think it's going well. I mean, we've had violations, right, which we've dealt with according to the procedures that we sent out in the beginning of it. But I think for the most part, the feedback from the parents, the kids, the teachers has been positive. I mean, for us, it wasn't a huge move. The biggest shift was removing them from our pockets and putting them in our bags, which, there was a little bit of a fleshing out period, but the kids have, for the most part, done really well. We certainly had students get caught with them and stuff like that, but it's been fine, right? Ms. Hathaway, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think it's going really well. Yeah.
I have not had a parent, I don't think you have either, who when we've called to let them know, hey, they're on level 1, level 2, whatever, has complained. In fact, most of them, to their credit, have been, okay, well, that phone's going to stay with me for a week. Okay, it's good, So it's been great. The feedback's been really good.
I would say for the high school overall, it's been great. Been a challenge, I would say, for our upperclassmen, as we knew that would probably be expected. But to concur what Andy had said, communication with the parents, they've been nothing but supportive. And I know Miss Mullen, deals more with some of those conversations with the parents, and they're like, "I'll keep it home. You don't have to worry about it. I'll keep it home." But we've had to collect some phones and have it turned in, and that really hasn't been an issue. I think the other challenge is kind of just that constant reminder coming back from long weekends or the breaks, just to get back in the routine. But overall, I think we're happy that it went through. Especially with the talk of what's to come from the state down for the fall, so it's like a testing the waters type of scenario for us.
So going into the new year, definitely we'll have to make sure to keep that top of mind. Like you said, just coming back from a break is an adjustment, right?
Yeah.
So to know that'll again be an adjustment.
It's funny, before our meeting tonight, we had added to our summer to-do list, just really taking a look at what that guidance may look like, and just making sure that we're looking at it, community, student, staff, so that everybody can be consistent and be on the same page with what we're going to roll out.
Great. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to tag on to that, we will be getting guidance from legal counsel as well that our policy may not be strict enough. So once we get that, we're going to have our legal counsel look at our policy to make suggestions on what we need to do to be in compliance with the state. So there may be a whole new rollout that comes, but that would happen with the summer months and going into September.
Yeah, and I think that's, I know we had many discussions here, but I think that was part of our last discussion, right? Is that state could come down with something, but at least we're starting somewhere. So it's not, you're going from 0 to 100 with, no room for adjustment. So I think that's great. Appreciate it.
How did you know to go? He didn't say it.
The head goes, Brandon, sure go. Messing with me.
Collaboration.
You're up. The only thing that and it's more of just highlighting, is the Highland community and our students at our building, and the amount of money that we raised for the Kids Heart Challenge. We challenged Marlboro this year. They were silly enough to come at us and think that they were going to actually win. So Jenna thought that she was bringing her A game, and when she called me when the numbers were in, she was like, "What did you do?" And I was like, we didn't do as, I don't know, we did all right. And we were well over 10 grand that we raised. And when I told her that number, for some reason the reception went and
Line got cut.
line got cut, something. I don't know, maybe one of the assistant superintendents called or something like that. And but anyways, and Marlboro, is at a measly 2,700. So so I think Jenna's gonna have to wear like a Highland Husky shirt all day. I think that's one of the things that I'm requiring. So I'm gonna go buy a nice T-shirt for her. Right. So
they're gonna come out in full force next year.
I know this is not the end of it. So we registered more kids, and then the Finns Challenge we did more. So this is their first year doing it. It was awesome. I'm so glad that they joined this. And I think Saugerties and a few other districts are going to jump on board with this little challenge. So, but anyways, I just wanted to highlight Highland. So awesome job to our students in our community. So thank you. Questions?
Questions for Ian? Thank you. Our monthly director's report. We have our directors here this evening, so if we have any questions for them, please let them know.
Just for, facilities, buildings look really good. I know it's been a challenge to stay on top of this grass, but, the public starts coming onto our campuses and, things have looked really good. Excited with some of the developments going on in back of our high school, and hopefully the weather stays with us.
Mr. Miller, could you just give the board a quick update of where we are with the track coating and if we are on target?
Are we on time? Target?
Yeah, we'll be done in a couple of years.
Awful chilly out tonight.
They come in with a plan, the date to start, that was fine, they did that. They planned for 18 days for installation. We are currently losing about 2 days a week, which it's kind of built in, they know that. So as far as it is now, the first thing they did when they came in was make sure that everything was level. And now all the rubber base is down. And today they put down all the tack coat, which glues the red rubber to the track. And depending on what the weather does tomorrow, that'll see how far that goes. That may be put off until Saturday. They probably want to work on Memorial Day, but the boss probably doesn't want them to.
I'm not the boss. I just saw you looking at me.
I didn't look at you. I know you're not the boss. I'm laughing in general because I know what that means.
The foreman was freezing out there this morning because he's from Hawaii, so he was not too happy with the fact that it was very cold out there. They're moving along. Some of the other work that we did has come to fruition for cleaning it up and making it more accessible out there, correcting some of the issues we have encountered. Plus, as I had in my report, a lot of preliminary work some has been done, a lot has been planned for the summer to try to make sure that goes smoothly, because the summer is extremely short and it's going to be a challenge to get everything done that we need to do. We've set some hard deadlines for things like the availability of the high school gym for sports without being interfered with construction. So it's moving along.
I think before we leave that section, I just wanted to say thank you to Frank Alfonso. He did a great job, coaching and his team. And it's not easy to run a program and have to fill into some of these positions. So great job on athletics, Frank.
You're welcome, Frank.
It's all about the cut. It's all about the grass cut. All right, thank you. Thanks.
I just want to recognize technology. I know obviously computer-based testing is a big thing, right? And I know for a long time we talked about it. We were not dreading it, but fearful of what it could mean, right? And certainly we have really heard nothing about it. And that's due to the teamwork that you guys have put in. So thank you.
I know with John, I know we probably threw something on your plate with the concession stand. Is that going well, or it's?
Yes, when we opened it, it wasn't a ton of action out there, but we didn't get our health department permit yet. So Corey should be coming this week, next week, and then we can do hot food starting next year.
Yeah. I'm sure, we have to just feel it along a little bit. It's in its infancy stage right now, and until we get it outfitted. I don't believe all.
Right now it's flatlined because we're in the way.
All right. Maybe Frank, maybe you want to give the board just an update on spring sports. I know a lot of the spring teams are doing well.
So our two lacrosse teams both are going to be qualifying for sectionals. We're going to be hosting, but we're not hosting on site. The boys, tentatively, their playoff game will be played at Marlboro, and the girls' game will be played at Mount St. Mary's. That'll be next week. Baseball and softball will both be hosting a game either Tuesday or Wednesday next week in the first round of sections. Track has their MHLs up at Round Out on Thursday, rain or shine. I know it's supposed to rain a lot, but they're going to be out there either way. Golf wrapped up today. Flag football wrapped up last week. And so far, we've had a pretty good spring, and competing, and hopefully we can win some championships. Between lacrosse, baseball, and softball.
Good luck in the postseason.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anybody else? No. Okay. Kai, you're up.
Okay. First of all, forgive my voice. This is peak allergy season. I'm a little bit froggy. But at the elementary school, the Highland Rotary Club was very excited to host essay contest winners at From the Ground Up restaurant on May 14th. The first, second, and third place winners were Olivia Cavazos, James Stewart, and Emmett Vetter, who read their essays aloud. All other students who submitted their essays received a certificate of participation in school, and all the students did a great job exercising their creative muscles and practicing their writing skills for this competition. The Highland Music Boosters are a local nonprofit that volunteers and raises money for music events and programs in Highland. They selected 8 grant awardees for the 2024-2025 school year, and the recipients from the elementary school were Liam Adamek, who plays alto saxophone, and Jack Simmons, who plays trumpet. The grant awards recital was at Springfest on May 17th, and congratulations to those 2 students for their dedication to their craft. At the middle school, Mr. Reaver's biology class has been dissecting fetal pigs as part of their taxonomy and classification unit. While some students are very squeamish, most have been enjoying the experience of learning anatomy firsthand. And this week, the students will be given the opportunity to ride bikes over the Hudson River during gym class. Coaches Early and Bowman organized this trip, and there are a lot of parent and teacher volunteers helping to make it run smoothly. The trip is optional, but a lot of students are excited to be outside in the great weather. Right now, it's not raining yet. It takes 1 class period to ride about 6 miles, and the trip helps students get active while enjoying the beautiful scenery that Highland has to offer. With the end of the year approaching quickly, there are lots of deadlines for the middle schoolers. Some of these deadlines include the SUNY Ulster President's Challenge Scholarship for 8th graders, and the National Junior Honor Society applications for 7th graders. All the students are looking forward to the opportunity to further their academic careers via entry into these well-respected and beneficial programs. At the high school, we hosted a college and career fair on April 29th. Mrs. Lawback, Santangelo, and Mullen worked with Walfield High School with the high school staff to ensure the greatest amount of representatives would be able to attend the event. So they came here first and then went to Walfield. The fair was targeted towards 10th and 11th graders, and about 60 reps from colleges, trade schools, and military showed up and educate students on their options after college. The junior and senior prom was at the Chateau in Kingston on May 2nd. The theme was Masquerade Ball. Students and guests alike enjoyed a night of great music, awesome decorations, a photo booth, and amazing food and drinks. I had like 20 show and tells and a Diet Coke to cancel it out. Faculty and staff attended a professional development day on May 9th. Breakfast and lunch were provided for teachers as they spent the day participating in different workshops. I was given the opportunity to run one of these workshops, and I think it went really well. Opitz and Mullen helped me when to plan it, and I think it was really good for staff and the students. On May 14th, the art department planned a field trip to Woodstock School of Art. Current art students, art club members, and National Art Honor Society members were invited to take part in 2 different workshops. One was printmaking and one was abstract art. They were able to carve and use their own prints, and they demonstrated a lot of creativity with multimedia paintings afterwards. The trip was organized by Mr. Castellanos and teachers Mrs. Pollock at the high school, Babineau at the elementary school, and Osborne at the middle school collaborated to mentor the trip. And the last taste of success was today. Students had pizza while Joe Kaluga from Integrity Mechanical came to talk about his career in commercial and residential HVAC and plumbing. He's a Highland community member, and he has kids in the district, and he also lives in town. So we thank him for donating his time to the students and educating them on positive career. That's all. Any questions?
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Zimmer.
Good evening. Hello, I have 2 items to share with you. First, the Direct Committee wrapped up its final meeting of the school year on Tuesday, May 13th. At this meeting, members got to hear about some incredible student-led citizenship in action capstone projects, all created with an equity lens in mind. The group also took a deep dive into disaggregated academic and disciplinary data from the 2023-24 school year. Also at the meeting, Harriet Meyer shared that after 4 years in the role, she will be stepping down as our Direct Committee liaison. On behalf of the district, we are so grateful for her leadership and commitment, and the district will be looking to fill this important role with another staff member soon. So thank you to Harriet Meyer for all the time she put in over the past 4 years for this important committee. Next, oh yes. We, as you probably already know, it was reported at the last meeting, though I was not here to report on it, but Dr. Boyd did mention it. We did hold a UPK lottery on Tuesday, May 6th, with 64 applicants competing for 48 available seats. While not all families received their first choice preschool placement, every child selected through the random lottery process has been offered a seat. We initially had 16 students on the waiting list, but that number has since decreased to 10. At this point, all 48 seats have been filled. Registration packets have been sent to all applicants, and completed packets must be submitted to our district registrar, Julie Miller, by May 30th. I do anticipate very often between now and the beginning and the middle of the summer, some people move or they make some other decisions and take their children out and put them in other programs. So I do anticipate, although there are 10 people on the waiting list, we probably by September will move through at least a few of them and be able to offer them some seats. And that's all I have for you this evening.
Any questions? Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Dr. Boyd?
Good evening, everyone. So intertwined with all of our end of year activities and events, we are still planning for next year, right? So I've been meeting with our building administration, looking specifically at our special ed programs and our numbers and looking at placement of programs and teachers. So we'll continue to fine tune that over the next few weeks so we have a set solid plan. A big part of that is also our incoming kindergarten students. So we've been going out and visiting and observing some of those students in their preschools throughout the area, some of them being our UPK site, some of them being other specialized programs in Poughkeepsie and other places throughout the county. With that, we did have a very successful kindergarten screening day on May 9th. We did incorporate a new part of a signing for the students. So if you guys haven't seen it, I encourage you to look at the pictures on the Facebook page. It came out very nice. So a big thank you to our elementary staff and Julie Miller, our district registrar, for all the coordination and making that day run so smoothly for not only our staff, but for our incoming students and their families to give them a great first experience stepping foot in that school. So I would say there was a lot of smiles coming out that day from our incoming students and the parents. So a big thank you to everyone for making that go off without any hitches. Typically at this point in the year, we usually get our 611 and 619 special education grant allocations. We do expect them. They always come usually about the end of May. We are still anticipating that, there's always a lot of talk about some of the changes to federal funding. We have heard nothing that is going to change for this year. So we are still anticipating that for the end of May, and we'll write those grants in June for a beginning of July submission. Lastly, we had our biannual Medicaid meeting last week with our billing team. We don't have an update on numbers. They had a glitch in the Medicaid system where it delayed billing for a few months, so they're still getting caught up. So we're waiting on getting a more accurate number on how we did with some of our billing for Medicaid this year. That's it.
Any questions for Dr. Boyd? Thank you.
Okay, so I know I mentioned it at the last meeting, but if you have an opportunity, please get down to the Highland Library and take a look at the artwork. It's a district-wide art showcase that is running in the library through May 29th. Our support services team has been meeting to go over the change orders that some of which you approved this evening. We have a few more that are in the works. We are trying to get another support services meeting scheduled hopefully for this week to go over some things, if not sometime next week, so that we can get the bulk of things done for that first board meeting in June, so that we move into the summer with everything behind us. We've already talked about the track coding, so I won't reiterate that. Just a reminder to everyone, and this is the last reminder you're going to get, the snow day return is this Friday, May 23rd, and next Tuesday, May 27th. So thank Ulster BOCES for the work that they've done. Our liaison there for public relations, she did a nice slide for Facebook, so it's very visual, so folks don't forget. But I also did send a letter out to everyone. And then just before the end of last week, we had our annual Educational Foundation gala at Indian Ridge. It was very well attended. A lot of really big smiles. The honorees were extremely excited to be recognized for the work that they've done on behalf of kids and the community and just their successes. And as of this evening, I learned that we raised about $10,300 as a profit from that dinner. So some of that money will be going to help fund some of the equipment that's needed to run the concession stands. So just a thanks to the Ed Foundation. That is a year-long process, and then you take a big deep breath, and then you meet the next week to start planning for next year. So it's almost like the Macy's Day Parade. Like literally, that is constantly in the works, getting that dinner up and running. So thank you to the Ed Foundation for all the work. Today is budget day, so our board trustee vote and our budget vote is happening today. There's still an hour and 40 minutes.
Yes.
So if you have not had an opportunity to vote, I please encourage you. I know folks might be listening. Still have an hour and 40 minutes, so please make it to the high school band room to get your vote in and vote for your board trustees. And that's all that I have for right now.
Any questions for the superintendent? Okay, before we move on to the Board of Education, Andy, you're ready? No, okay.
So she couldn't make it tonight. I was able to get a hold of our recipient. She couldn't make it. Something happened last minute, but I'm going to try to get her here for June.
Would you like to hear the presentation now or put it off?
We don't have leader of the pack in June because that's our big.
We should recognize it now, and then maybe the PR can get down to the building and get a picture of the student.
Yeah. Come on up. Go ahead.
Maybe you can save her her slide or her.
We'll get a picture with her.
Get a picture, yeah, so that we can get that on.
This is our second one in a row. Could be.
One month. So Rosemary Pickchalk was our leader of the month, and as Andy said before, probably one of the most heartwarming and wholesome experience that I had when I got to share this with her. So I'm really excited to share what her teachers had to say. Mrs. DeStacy, who is Rosemary's ENL teacher from when she first arrived, says, I vividly remember Rosemary when she first joined Highland as a second grader in Mrs. Pavesi's class. From the very start, her vibrant personality shone through, perfectly matched by the bright, hot, pink, sparkly bows and colorful outfits she loved to wear. Over the years, her cheerful spirit has remained unwavering, and I've watched her English skills blossom in remarkable ways. Rosemary's always been a kind, helpful, and genuinely honest student. She's not afraid to speak her mind and share her thoughts. Her progress in English has been truly inspiring, and I believe that next year she'll no longer need support in English. I am incredibly proud of her dedication, resilience, and a determination to succeed. She has shown kindness and a willingness to help others, especially those facing language barriers. Without a doubt, Rosemary is the perfect candidate for this role. Congratulations, Rosemary. Mrs. DeStacy is bursting with pride and excitement for all you've accomplished and for what's to come. Keep shining. You deserve it. Ms. Burnett, her science teacher this year, said Rosemary is a star student. She never quits, and she always has a smile on her face. I've seen her stick up for the little guy when she has no need, but it was the right thing to do. She helps out her classmates, friends or not, and consistently strives to participate in class. She's a shining example of what the leader of the pack looks like. Mr. Banks, her tech teacher, says Rosemary is an excellent student in tech. She always works hard and even takes time to help the other students around her. It's not just about grades. She brings a positive attitude to class and a smile. It's been a pleasure having Rosemary in tech class this year. Mrs. Leahy, her ELA teacher, says Rosemary is a devoted student who takes care to consistently show a positive attitude toward her learning. Her strong work ethic makes her an ideal role model among her peers. Rosemary has shown tremendous academic and social growth over the course of her years at HMS, and I'm positive she'll continue to thrive in high school and beyond. Mrs. Jansen, her math teacher, who was actually here earlier to support her, said that Rosemary is a dedicated and hardworking student who consistently goes above and beyond to support her peers. Whether it's offering to help with schoolwork or lending a kind word to someone having a tough day, Rosemary leads with compassion and integrity. She's not only a strong student academically, but also a positive role model for others. Her willingness to stand up for those in need and her natural ability to lead by example makes her a perfect choice for leader of the pack. Mr. Brenny, who also came this evening, her social studies teacher, says the kindest, sweetest, most caring, and most generous student that we have in 8th grade. Her smile brightens up everybody's day that she comes in contact with. She's one of the most deserving students to win this award ever. And my own addition to this is that Rosemary is always willing to help others, even when she doesn't have any personal gains for it. In addition to all the other strengths that her teachers have highlighted, she's been a bridge of unending support and kindness for other students who struggle to communicate in English. Whether they're her friends or not, Rosemary ensures that their needs are met and their voices are heard. We're so proud of her and grateful to have her here. So congratulations to Rosemary.
We'll make sure she gets this, and if we can't do something here, then we'll do something at the school first. Sure. She deserves it. So
wonderful. Thank
you.
Okay. Board of Education, new business. Reorganizational meeting. Be resolved, the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, determines the reorganizational meeting for the 2025-2026 school year to be held on, we're going to have that discussion, which will be held in the boardroom E32 at the high school. Can I have a motion, please? Motion by Janine, second by Jen. Discussion. In the past, we've done July 1, early in the morning.
On the back, it's on the schedule.
Yeah, the other time.
It says TBD.
TBD.
4 to 4:30, I was gonna throw out there.
We're gonna probably throw out 6:30 in the morning.
Oh. Have a good meeting.
I think last year we did
Is there-
7.
Yeah, 7. July 1, 7 a.m.
Oh,
Everybody all right with that?
Yeah, well, I'm all right now. We'll see. No, like it. That's fine. 7 a.m. Whatever the group needs.
And every time by 8:15, they get to work.
July 1?
Yeah.
7 a.m. to 7:30. 7 a.m.
7 a.m. So those of us who have to report to work at 8:30 can hopefully report to work at 8:30 on time.
Okay. We have a motion by Janine, second by Jen for our reorganizational meeting to be held on July 1st at 7 a.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Why are these listed as like resolutions and we're just not like adopting a calendar? Okay.
It will be on the reorg. But this way, it needs to be approved sooner than later. So
Okay.
BOCES likes to have the information as well.
Okay.
So it'll be approved this evening, if all goes well, and then it'll be back on the reorg just as a noted fact.
Okay, second resolution, be resolved, the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of Superintendent, approves the following Board of Education meetings for the 2025-2026 school year. The following meetings are held on Tuesdays in the high school boardroom, E32, unless otherwise stated. And those are our days. Normally, during the summer months, July, August, our 5:30 starts. July 22nd, as you can see, is a tentative date. And then we go back to 6 p.m.
And just note that one of the dates is a Monday because the next day is Veterans Day.
Gotcha. Can I have a motion, please? Motion by Mike, second by Tom. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. The new business.
Yeah, so I do have a new business item I ended up with Dave Plapchak, our town supervisor. And it appears there's some challenges for the Independence Day celebration. And what I am proposing to the school board is that we partner, we co-sponsor the Independence Day celebration with the town. So I think last year they paid some fees because they are using the town, the school property. And of course, on our facilities use, there is some cost there that one might incur for such a large group. But as Dave explained the cost to me, the cost incurred by the town for the school's requirement is a very large, it's just a large cost. So on this agenda, you see there's other intermunicipal agreements. They're with schools, but intermunicipal agreements, I'd like to co-host the Independence Day celebration, proposing that to the board. It's not, that's Mike, the board. And then some of those costs might be alleviated, or what I'm proposing is any costs, we're co-hosting. So any requirements of the school that drives cost up, the school be responsible for. That's what I'm proposing. So I just wanted to know if there was any discussion or interest in that. Yeah.
Just for clarification, I know when outside communities such as the town, which is an entity of the town of Lloyd, do we have to secure a permit from state education for use of facilities?
Yes. For this type of an event, yes.
For of July 4th celebration.
So when we submit the document, we need to submit all of the insurance documents. Fire has to sign off on it. There were other entities too, Pete. I'm not remembering the others, but there's a series of folks that need to sign off on an event like this because of the use of fireworks on the site, and that has to be approved by State Education Department. So that was one of the things that caused some delay in getting things done last year, and the insurance requirement was the piece that was this sort of the stickler to getting. They came through last year. The fireworks company had to provide a certain amount. There was another amount that needed to be provided by the town, and the town did incur a large fee last year for that fireworks display to go off.
So I want to bring up the whole insurance thing again, because this Independence Day celebration isn't new.
Mm-hmm.
Last year wasn't the first year. They've done it on that town co-joint middle school area for a very long time. So again, I'm going to bring up the question is, what has changed with the insurance coverage that is making it difficult for our community members to be able to use our school facilities?
Question. Do we need research on that? You're absolutely right. It's not, last year wasn't the first year. It's been going on for a good number of years. And I mean, just to piggyback some of that conversation, I often ask myself, we have graduation ceremonies and we have various vendors that come in. We rent chairs, we rent, one year we had a drone flying overhead of spectators. Are we requiring the same insurance for those vendors as we're doing for every other organization that wants to utilize our facilities? I mean, you can't just earmark certain organizations, because over the course of a school year, there's many organizations that come through the school to provide a service, equipment, whatever it may be. I mean, I just want to be clear that if we're asking certain groups for that insurance requirement, are we asking every one of our vendors? I know when cheerleading was up here, there was a question about the photographer or
the DJ.
The DJ.
It's the same DJ that was used in other school districts.
Required insurance for that DJ, but to me, that DJ is the same as that vendor that's flying that drone around graduation to take pictures, or the photographers that are standing in front of the podium snapping a picture of every one of our graduates. They're a vendor. Do they have that insurance? So I think that's the question to this board. Do you want to direct our school district to secure those requirements from every single one of our vendors or suppliers that service the school district? Or are we going to pick and choose?
Oh, well, look, I don't know what the thresholds are across
There
the
is
groups.
threshold, but there's requirements.
The fireworks one is definitely a larger piece.
No. That, and Janine also said, look, I'm concerned about other community groups. The school and the town are municipalities. That's why the Independence Day celebration is something a little different. Other groups we could discuss, but right now, the town is at a nexus. Correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Rizzo, I see you back there. The town is at a nexus. Do they move forward with this plan or not? And I would like to say yes. If anything, what I'm looking for is, does the board conceptually agree that we want to partner with our town for the purposes of having the celebration as it has been in the past? That's what's in front of you.
If I may jump in for a moment, nothing has changed from last year in terms of fireworks. Before I got here, speaking with Lindsay, we had the same issue. The insurance requirements have stayed the same. It's still the same $10 million. And that has not changed at all. Now, there's two things going on, and I just want to be respectful to Janine and her question. Sure. There's a whole other aspect in regards to having smaller community events coming in and respecting them and making sure we have those communities come in. But the fireworks specifically the requirements for that have been set before. Yes, we need NYSED. They have a guideline. They have a requirement of $5 million.
Sure.
Our insurance company, NYSER, is asking for 10. They asked for it last year and they asked for it previously. That has not changed. The issue is the town of Lloyd and the fireworks company together, they felt they had enough insurance to cover what NYSER said.
Right.
NYSER is saying, no, individually you're supposed to have the $10 million coverage.
Right.
The proposal I'm hearing is Highland will now go into some type of a municipal agreement where we would kind of pick up that extra cost. The difference, because of that insurance value, has a value to it. We would now be absorbing that and paying that out. Is that something the board wants to do? Is the question. Now, once again, there's a whole nother discussion that has to be talked about in terms of our insurance requirements for the community events, making sure they're appropriate, and we can get into that. But if we deal with the Highland issue of this municipal agreement, we're taking on an additional cost. Right. And that cost, I want to make sure if the board's accepting that cost and the community is accepting that cost, we'll move forward. But that is the issue at hand. How do you want to proceed with accepting that type of municipal agreement?
Mike Bakatsias approves the district to pick up the cost. That's a board member.
When we move that, we'll put it to a quick resolution.
No problem. I'm just saying,
I just
you
want
know
to
where I stand very clearly.
One question, because my conversation that I had with the supervisor was, and maybe Tiffany, you can chime in if you know, town, I believe, has 10 million. The vendor that's doing the celebration on July 4th has 5 million. So they're looking at it as a total of 15 million. But what I'm hearing,
coverage, right?
the aggregate, what I'm hearing from Desmond is that NYSER wants 10, 10, 10, or
NYSER wants both entities, the fireworks company and the town of Lloyd, to have their individual 10 and 10. They're not combining them together.
I'm not
as
sure if
two
we're going to
insurance
solve
companies.
the problem because they want that vendor to have the 10.
Well, I think the way it was,
Do we need another 10 million for
The
ourselves
board
now?
can
and then
approve
10
payment
for-
or reimbursement of such costs to the town.
I think the way that it was solved last year was that the town purchased the additional 5,000 for the fireworks company. So the town had 10, the fireworks company had 5, and the town purchased another 5 so that the fireworks company
My
had a total of
understanding
10.
is they swallowed that because it was the 11th hour. They didn't want to cancel the event. That's my understanding. And
Well, I'm going to chime in on the 11th hour because that makes it look like the district did something. This was worked on all year long, and we got no response from the town for many, many months. Mr. Miller worked tirelessly to try to get the town to come to the table to iron all of this out. And it wasn't until about this time last year, and the only reason we were able to even get the person on the phone at the state was because we were dealing with a fire from the middle school. So please don't.
there's no suggestions here.
I just want to make that
Two
clear.
municipalities that are going to work beautifully together. That's what I say.
I still don't understand. This hasn't just been a 2-year event. This event has gone on for a long time. I'm sorry I keep looking at it, but this event has gone on for a long time. So at what point in time, I understand the insurance didn't change, so at what point in time did the interpretation of what the insurance changed, or was there a directive to interpret it? Because this has been going on for a long time.
I've been talking about fireworks since I got here.
But I understand fireworks,
I'm
you
just
need
saying
to have
that
more
that's what-
insurance. I
that's-
understand the
Hold on, just to answer, hopefully answer your question. In our business, we work with a lot of school districts. NYSER has changed their requirements
Absolutely.
drastically over the last 2 years.
I'll say
But
it's
I
not just
asked that
nicer. We deal
before.
with it all the time at work. It's one
So
of the
prior
biggest
to that,
issues that we
Janine,
deal
prior
with.
to that, it could have been a
It's just
$5 million
the world we live in.
umbrella.
That's fine, but I have asked this question before, not related to the fireworks. Yes, there's a whole other discussion we need to have. But I've
Independence
asked
Day
that question
celebration.
before, and that was never clear. So if it is now clear that with regards to fireworks, NYSER has made a tougher expectation with regards to coverage you have to have, then I accept that because, okay, the past 2 years there's been a difference in that. But prior to that, there was not. And if that was because NYSER had different expectation at that period of time versus now, then fine, I accept that. But that wasn't given to me before.
I believe NYSER for a while has required this, and I believe former people who were doing this were not listening to the full enforcement that NYSER was asking for. So we got lucky that that happened, I guess. But, you know, if you're directing me to not do what NYSER's saying, then we'll go down that road.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying, and this is what the discussion has been in the past with other community members, with our parents and our volunteers who have done these types of events, not just fireworks, but other things where this has always been the way, and we haven't, then that's what we need to explain to the public, that they understand that it's not Highland changing it, that it is, there has always been the process before, but there's been exceptions made with other people in charge or administration that has now changed.
I don't know that for sure, so I can't say that. But I'm just saying that I know that when we call NYSER and they tell us this is what we are required, we're following through with what they're telling us that we need.
But the public wants to know what changed
The process
prior
that
years to
changed
now.
last year was state ed got involved. And state ed required a application to be filed to have fireworks on school property. So that is the big change.
I understand.
And that triggered
The fireworks.
That triggered something, okay? And we're dealing with the fireworks situation right now, and what NYSER is requiring for insurance. But the new piece that came into it was state ed with the application has to be filed, which includes all the insurance, all the information from everybody, including the guy that's lighting the fuse, to everything. The town of Lloyd building permit or fireworks permit that they have, all that stuff had to be submitted to the state. That never happened before last year.
That's all I need to know, is that there has been a change with regards to fireworks.
Okay, so I know personally that I only really got involved in it last year because we were losing our business official and we were getting a new one. So it came over to my office. And so then that's when I was on the phone with state ed. They told me exactly what I needed. I was on the phone with Joyce from NYSER, who told me exactly what we needed. I spoke to the town supervisor, told him exactly what we needed. And then we got NYSER and NYMER, which is their insurance company. We had them talk to each other so that everybody was speaking the same language. And that's when the town decided they were going to buy the additional insurance for the fireworks company so that they met what the criteria was.
Do we and can we front that money, whatever the additional money is, say $5,000, pull a number out? Can we do that?
That's a decision of the Board of Education.
So I'm just, are we
Love it.
prepared to do
Leave
that?
it at that. Are you prepared to do it, Tom?
I would do it.
Are you prepared to do it?
Yeah.
I would
All right.
suggest we split it. If it's a joint event, if that's how we're gonna phrase it, I would suggest we split it. I
But
mean,
what happens next year? Is there
What kind
expectation?
of Pandora's box are
well,
we
that's
opening?
what I'm worried about.
Properties
That's
all
what I'm
over
worried
each
about.
other.
We look.
Every
You don't
event
just
that
craft an
happens.
intermunicipal agreement. It's going to go to legal. Stuart Waxman will hash out all of these things. But like any intermunicipal agreement, like the ones on the agenda tonight, they're going to be hashed out in agreement. They're pointed. They do what they do, and we move forward.
Right, are we setting a precedent for other events to go through that same process and more of a financial liability on the district?
Maybe. I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm willing to start with the Independence Day celebration.
I'm not in favor of supporting the entire financial burden of it.
Even if it's the district that generates the cost?
It's not the district that does, it's our insurance requirements that require it for us to be covered by
The
it.
word OUR for me says it's our cost. To me.
We have a June 3rd, June 2nd.
We do.
But
just knowing how long it took me to get that last year, I can start working on, if that's what the goal of the board is, to get an intermunicipal agreement.
The superintendent
I have not
needs to
had
hear
that
the wish of the board tonight, and then everything will follow.
I've not had that conversation with legal counsel yet. I don't know that they're going to recommend that we have an agreement when fireworks are involved.
the fireworks piece is the hard part of this. And I
The Board of
understand having
Education
to have the
and
the
the
coverage.
town
I'm
would
not
like to
for fireworks.
partner and co-host an Independence Day celebration. And then let's see what they ask next. I mean, it's
Well, I do think we need to say that there are fireworks involved, because if
Of
there's a
course.
liability and something happens after what we just went through, I fear that NYSER is going to come back and either raise our rates or worse, could they drop us? And we've done an investigation of, the other one was Utica National, and that is not a positive, they're not in favor of taking us on. Just it's a lot
we need a little
to.
bit more conversation from the rest of the board if we're going to move
Is there any
resolution forward.
Is there any other alternatives other than, because I agree with Heather that it does open us up to, are we gonna foot the bill for everything else?
Well, if you recall that document that came with our turf field use, it listed what the obligations of certain vendors were and the amount. Fireworks, I'm going to use that word fireworks, fell at 10 million. Most of it was 5 million or less. So I don't think we're going to run into that situation
Maybe not
that often.
But anytime now an organization has to incur additional fees in order to hold an
I
event,
understand what you're
that's
saying.
what I don't want to be favoring you over you and have to make a choice that you now can't have your event. I mean, that's what we're going to get into. It's a slippery slope, just in
There's
my
only
opinion.
one municipality that we partner with.
There's a lot of
the
sports
town of
organizations
Lloyd.
too. I mean, by splitting it, we're offering to both take part in it. I would obviously want legal's opinion first.
They already pay a lot of fees towards the celebration, just saying. But I hear you.
What you're saying is a good statement there, Heather. I mean, yes, does it open up Pandora's box? As Jen said, what happens to the other organizations? What happens to the youth football that comes in and say, well, you shared the cost or you paid the full shot. What are you doing for us? Yeah, the cost will be a lot less, but I think because of the level of the requirement, that 10 million threshold, that's not required from those other youth programs. So what I said a while ago is I like to bring those organizations in, all of them in, or have a sit down with them, with a committee, to see what the additional cost would be for those organizations. I don't think they fit into this category. I know what you're saying, but I don't think they fit
You're
truly
saying
into this
because
category.
the fireworks
In my
are
mind,
more?
I ran a Little League program for 40-something years. The way I looked at it, if that additional cost was, I'm just going to throw a number out there, $500, and you had 500 participants, children participants, it wouldn't affect that parent for $1 more to cover the cost of that insurance requirement. But if it's 10 million, it's a whole different story. But I want to know what our requirement for those youth programs might be. 3 million, and they only have 2. What is the cost for that additional $1 million? Is it $500? And we can say, I think you can absorb that. Or do we say the school district will absorb that $500? That's the conversation. I think this is separate, this intermunicipal agreement, because the threshold of 10 million is a lot greater than what the youth organizations are required per that sliding scale breakdown.
I understand what you're saying. I guess from the perspective of, I know, I was talking with our business official about the Little League. They paid a significant amount for the amount of money that they make, right? Just this year to use the gym for 5 times maybe, because they do winter training there. I mean, so yes, I agree. Maybe the dollar threshold, if you're comparing the dollar for the Little League to the dollar for the fireworks, is a lot more. Town has a lot more money than the Little League does too. So if you look at percentage wise, it's still a lot for them. It's a lot to raise for all of our players who are playing, who some families who are barely able to pay that.
Understood. Just trying to
Yeah,
some
no,
comparison.
understood. And that's why I would be willing to split, but I think just us
Now,
splitting the whole thing out.
before we move this resolution, I don't want to be shot down for a reason of not having open conversation. What's everybody else's feeling?
I have the same feelings about, how do we show preference to one, and the municipality, the Independence Day celebration is not the only event the town puts on. Springfest, Halloween, Hamlet, are we to start creating, I don't want to discredit and not have those, but, we go down this pathway for this event and then we start inching our way into other events, and I want to be fair and equitable to all uses of that area without setting us up for, fiscal irresponsibility over celebrations that way, so.
We have student events that have had to be canceled and we don't do them anymore, like the student, senior cruise, where the person who provided that boat or whatever was asked to, again, pay a lot more higher premium for that insurance policy. And that just went away. I mean, we could be asked to maybe make that same gesture towards a group like that for the seniors to have that last, that was a standard for years. We had it, and then got it's the same thing. It's the same thing we're going to be doing here. How do we pick and choose? And that's just one thing. I'm sure there's other things that the students no longer have available because of those reasons. Prior to COVID, all this stuff just happened and nobody thought about it. Once COVID came and just disrupted the schedule and things went away for a while, everybody thought everything was just going to come back to normal. It hasn't. In so many ways, things aren't normal. Where do we go? How do we pick and choose?
I take it one step at a time, personally, Tom.
I'm sure the district could find the money, correct? Right? Maybe somewheres. And what happens if we come off a year where we have a budget? We had a situation like we had last year.
The if conversations never end. The question is, where do you lie? Is that something you'd like to pursue and have a joint celebration or not? That's what's in front of us today. Legal will flesh out all the other concerns, no doubt about it.
I understand the frustration, the concerns with everyone, but it is a celebration that probably could not occur anywhere else within the community, unless most of the time school facilities have the largest footprint of land to hold those type of celebrations. And I don't know. I know the St. Augustine Bazaar has fireworks on the rail trail. I don't know if they're still doing it. I don't know what that requirement is. So, we got to deal with what we're being asked. I'm just throwing that out there, but that's another situation. I mean, they're, different
I don't know
entity.
where that landed last year, but I know that I got called because they weren't able to do it where they normally do it, and they wanted to shoot them over our school. And when I gave them the dollar amount that the town was getting, I don't know if they had them last year. I don't know. That was something that Carol called me on because they couldn't put them over top of the houses and the schools, or not the school and the houses on that street near the rail trail. But they had done it for years.
So we want to bring a resolution to the floor and have a vote, or do you want to change the resolution if you feel that that's going to secure enough support to move it forward?
What would the
original is the intermunicipal agreement drafted by our legal in cooperation with the town to provide the facility for the July 4th celebration.
And then does it address the cost?
Well, in there, the cost to be borne by the school district. We don't know what that cost is right now. I mean, we know it was around $6,000 last year, I believe.
It was around $6,000 last year.
Yeah.
And so
we don't know what it is.
You're probably assuming it's gonna be about $6,000 again.
We can bring a resolution I would be in support if we could split the cost.
I would feel better if we could split the cost as well, but I also don't want this to be an event that gets canceled because it is an event that is very important to the community.
We have a resolution presented by Mike. We need a second to that to bring it to a vote. We have a resolution to have our legal draft a intermunicipal agreement with the town of Lloyd in cooperation with their legal. We have resolution or motion made by Mike and second by Tom. Any other discussion?
Will this go through the details of the cost, and will it be a one-time thing, or are we gonna be held to this year after year, and are we gonna open up the box for every time there's an event happening there and they don't have enough money?
Do you want to craft that to just use the year of 2025 for now? And then we'll bring it.
That's fine. I mean, I'm hoping
And then
it sets
doesn't-
up a
it doesn't-
template for
it doesn't
future
follow
years, so
through
this just goes
for
away.
this year only.
I'll work within the comfort level of the board, absolutely.
There's something that stipulates that it's this year only and that there's zero.
It'll read just like the
expectation.
other intermunicipal agreements.
I
So
just think.
Lisa, the resolution will read,
Stopped it.
an intermunicipal agreement crafted by our attorney in cooperation with the town of Lloyd, legal, for the 2025
Independence Day celebration.
Independence Day celebration, correct.
Is there a clause that if there's
And
funding
the
towards our
cost of
students
the
get priority?
Premium will be
Like
borne
the
by the
fees.
school district.
Yeah, I don't wanna see this funding be allocated for this and then students lose out because we didn't have funding for things like Tom mentioned, the cruise or whatever it may be. You know, that's.
I fear that's just a start.
I'll find the $6,000 in the budget for you.
I think we have the same situation with coach buses. I think that is an issue also, securing coach buses for events or something like the Boston trip. I don't think is being held anymore because the exorbitant cost of coach busing. It's just outrageous because they're meeting those requirements. So our because of the insurance requirements, yes, some of our student functions do suffer. Absolutely. And we have no control over that. Okay, so we have a resolution presented by Mike, seconded by Tom. Anybody need any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm an aye. It moves forward.
Lisa, what was the vote? I didn't hear it.
4-2.
Thank you.
And that's no from Heather Welch and Jen.
Jen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Old business. Mike, we have discussion on it.
Yeah.
Is it insurance? Insurance?
Old business, I have another item, gang. So everybody's well aware, and this might be appropriate if, there's public comment, but if it belongs in this realm, maybe the public
Yeah, I'll open it up.
joins the discussion, right? So we talked about it at the last meeting, but this pet crematorium proposal next to the elementary school is problematic. After last, and not because the science, right? The two don't fit. Hope and happiness on one side, death and despair on the other, just don't fit. I kind of spoke to that, and then I put those to words and shared them with the board
after the last meeting. So my understanding is now that's in the planning board
Back to the
side.
planning board for Thursday, the 22nd.
So, I mean, the board's gonna have some discussion tonight, but I unfortunately am at another board meeting. But I think there's gonna be board members there to represent the interest of the district. And then if you're there, Al, I asked that he read the letter that I crafted, which is just kind of that narrative. But I hope, and this is not, when we talk about that, this is not adversarial. This is municipal constituencies working things out. Anyway.
I will, at this point, we're real close to a public comment. Anybody in the audience would like to comment on the...
If you're here for that topic, right, the
state your name and...
crematory?
Should I stand up or can I stay seated?
You can stand.
Wherever you're most comfortable.
Yeah, whatever.
Just need your name, please. Go like this. My name is Lacey Maffei. I'm a parent of 3 children in the district. I live very close to the hamlet on Tilson Avenue, right by Dave Flapjack, he's my neighbor. And you as well, actually. We were also neighbors.
And Rich.
And Rich.
Oh, yeah, he bought my mom's house. So anyway, he's my next door neighbor. So I was really pleased that you wrote that letter. I saw a preview of it from Kathy, who's also on the Comprehensive Planning Board Implementation Committee. So that I'm also a member of that committee. There's a lot of things wrong with the idea of putting it so close to the school, but I just wanted to let you know that I finished all of my research today. And there are 24 operating crematoriums in the state of New York that are registered with the DEC. So you can look that up, you can look at their addresses. I have gone through all of them, and the closest any single one of them is to a school is 2,070 feet. And there's only 3 that are under 4,000 feet close to a school. The rest are much, much farther, miles and miles, or if they're not, those 3 that are kind of closer are just because they happen to be in industrial zones that abut another area that's residential or whatever, but it's still quite far. I've read through the planning board minutes. I've been very concerned about this. I've done a lot of research. I'm happy to share any research. I have actually flyers if you want to come, I'll give them to you afterwards, and you can look at the website because we have all of our citations, we have all of our data. We're not coming at this being like, oh, just a crematorium. Like, this is legitimately concerning. Children have very sensitive lungs. They breathe more deeply and they breathe more breaths per minute than adults. And there is no safe level of emissions according to the WHO, the EPA, the American Academy of Pediatrics. These are all of the experts on children and health. And children are a vulnerable population. And I think we as a community, all of us we owe that to them because the children aren't able to come and say, I'm concerned about this. My daughter did a little I think she got 52 signatures from her classmates to oppose the crematorium. But they aren't able to advocate for themselves. And, we're here both as parents and as just members of the public that are concerned for everyone's well-being. There's a lot of zoning issues with it as well, where it really doesn't fit and it shouldn't be put there. And I believe just an error has been made. And I'm hoping it will be corrected in the appeals. It's going to be going to appeal June 12th at 7 p.m. It's a hearing for the zoning board. No, they moved it to a public hearing, I think, just to have more public discussion on it. But the public hasn't really been. I only found out about it because someone made an appeal, a member of the public. Parents found out about this at a Board of Education meeting, and there's a requirement of the town that they were supposed to give 5 days.
I believe if it goes to a public hearing, the adjoining home landowners will be notified. But I don't know if it's gone to a public hearing yet.
Had. So it was in March. It was at public hearings, and they
So the adjoining landowners would be notified.
They weren't though. So we did FOIL requests to find out.
So we're going to want to know.
Not to argue about it.
Just so everybody's clear.
Yeah.
Board of Education really has, we could just voice our concern as the Board of Education, but we're not gonna be involved in any decision-making
Of course not.
regarding
No,
that.
this
It's
is-
planning board and or zoning board when it gets to that point. And I don't know if it'll follow its way up to the town board at some point in time, probably not. But we could just go there and have the same concern as a parent or a neighbor, so.
That's really all I'm asking, and I think, like, as the community, that we all have an opportunity to stand up for the children right now, and the only reason it didn't just pass and go straight into site plan approval was because 12 parents showed up at the meeting and brought up all of these things that they even admitted that they hadn't even thought of in the planning board.
So I'm not, they're keeping things collegial. However, at the end, when it's all said and done, we are gonna have to review process and why we were last to know and not first to know. That irritates me. It should irritate the entire board. The other thing is what we want our community to look like. When you make these changes, you can't roll them back. So we know that when families are looking for a community to move to, affordability and what comes number 2? Schools, or sometimes it's schools and affordability, but they're right up there. And I want our community, it is every one of our schools is so attractive. And unfortunately, the environment of the school is everything in and around the school. Sorry, but that's the reality. And I don't want that affected. It's got a lot of appeal. We want it to appeal to families of the future. I mean, there's a lot of different shoots you could go off of this, but I'm hoping that the first thing is to come to a consensus for us, because we're a governing body. But the other thing is to mobilize the community. I think there should be 1,000 people there Thursday night. That's the goal. That's the goal. So if you're watching and you're listening, word of mouth, post it. We need 1,000 of our residents, which is really not a very big percentage, by the way. 1,000 people there to just voice our opinion. I'd appreciate that.
Okay, any other board members available Thursday evening? I'll be present.
I think I
We'll
can be.
say
I
I'll-
gotta check. I think I can.
We'll handle it. All right, while we have public comment open, anybody else for public comment? Okay, I'll close public comment, and under miscellaneous, Ulster County School Board Association Distinguished Friend of Education Award nominations are due by June 30th. Just wanted to throw that out there, so any board member has any nominations, we can share it, and we'll make a decision, and we'll go from there.
Can share them directly with me.
Yeah.
Via
We're not
email.
doing it out in public.
Yes, but this was like directly with you.
Okay, anything else for the good and welfare of the district?
Did
Still
anyone
got
not
another
vote
40
yet?
minutes.
You have to vote? Okay.
We're gonna go into executive session for non-aligned contract negotiations, continuing. And we will not come out to public session again. So, all right, I'll give you time to go vote. Motion? Second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So carried. Thank you, everyone.
Good night. I'm gonna head down to Malden, but